Welcome back to Monday Mindfulness Minute. I'm Dr. Amanda Beeman, and every Monday in the month of June, I've been hosting meditations. Each week, I've been adding a few minutes onto the meditation, and the hope is that as you practice each week, that maybe you're starting to develop a bit of a habit and maybe even starting to sustain a longer and longer meditation. And I've also been adding new elements in. So this week, I wanted to talk a little bit about meditation cushions. Up until now, we've been either standing or seated in a chair. And of course, there's always the option to use a meditation cushion. So I'll discuss a few pointers about that, and then we'll get into our meditation for today. So there are different types of cushions. There are different shapes and sizes. There's larger cushions, smaller cushions, round cushions. So really, a lot of this is going to depend on your flexibility, especially in your hips. So being seated for long periods on a meditation cushion requires pretty good flexibility in the hips, although there's a few things that you can do to help support yourself when you're using a meditation cushion. So the typical kind of posture on a meditation cushion might look something like this. You know, you're kind of seated with the legs crossed. And the main rule that we want to keep in mind for being seated during a meditation, either in a chair or a cushion, is we want our knees to be lower than our hips. And so this may take some moving around to get to that place. Now, you can see that this is going to put a fair bit of strain on the hips, and if you're not flexible in the hip area, this could be a problem. So there are different things you could do. You could have, for example, pillows under your knees, although this is raising it up above the hips. You know, this could provide some additional support, so there's not so much pressure being put on the hips. The other option is that you could change your position, and you could be seated like this. So this is definitely following the expectation that your knees be lower than your hips. And this allows for that gentle tip forward in the pelvis. The only issue here might be ankle. So again, you could use different things to provide more support for your ankles. In this case, a little pillow underneath your ankle could provide some additional support. So these are two different ways of using a meditation cushion. But if you do want to start using a cushion, I would suggest doing a little bit of research online. There are some shops, some shops that sell meditation cushions, although right now with coronavirus, I'm not sure how much access you might have to that. But often places that sell meditation cushions would provide a little bit of guidance in terms of helping you try them out and may suggest some different positions. So for now, I'll remain seated in this position. And again, for yourself, if you're either seated on a cushion or you're in a chair, finding that position that allows you to be comfortable with your sit bones firmly planted into either the chair or the cushion. And sometimes having that slight tilt forward in the pelvis helps with finding a grounded posture. Knees below hips. Shoulders stacked on hips. We don't want to be rounding the back with our head down. We want to have a proud posture with our shoulders still relaxed, though. And think about the crown of the head, gently reaching for the ceiling. The hands on your knees or lap or wherever they feel comfortable. And if you feel comfortable too, closing your eyes. And bringing your attention to the general state of the body. Noticing the points of contact between your body and the surface it's resting on. Noticing your feet and their connection with the floor. Your shoulders are stacked above your hips. Your hands and what they're connected to. And now, bring your attention towards sensations of breathing, wherever they show up most prominently for you. This could be noticing the rise and fall of the chest, the air at the tip of the nostrils, or the expansion and contraction of the belly. Choosing one of those areas to focus the attention for this formal practice. Throughout this practice, our attention may get pulled away to thinking, planning, to sounds, memories, other sensations in the body. When we notice that our attention has been pulled away, we'll gather the attention up and gently escort it back to noticing sensations of breathing in that area we chose to focus on for this formal practice. Knowing that this is a normal part of mindfulness meditation. The attention gets pulled away, and we gather it up again and again and guide it back towards noticing sensations of breathing with kindness to ourselves. Following the breath as it enters and leaves the body. Noticing where your attention is. And if it got pulled away to thinking, to gather it up and guide it back to notice sensations of breathing. Noticing the phases of the breath, where it initiates in the body, its expansion in the body, and its release. Becoming curious about sensations of breathing. Noticing where your attention is. And if it got pulled away to thinking, to gently gather up the attention and guide it back to notice sensations of breathing. Sometimes it can be helpful to use a metaphor, to think of the mind as the sky and thoughts as clouds. Some clouds are dark, some are light, some seem heavy, some are wispy. They may move fast or slow. Observing the clouds moving through the sky. And then returning to the breath, to sensations of breathing. Noticing the breath as it travels in and out. In a moment, this formal mindfulness practice will come to a close. The invitation is to bring the same quality of attention, of noticing, to the moments after the practice, and perhaps dropping into this state of mindfulness at different points during your day, to experiment with that. Now bring your attention back to the general state of the body as a whole. And when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. Thank you for joining me today for the second last Monday Mindfulness Minute for this month. Next week will be our last one, and it will be our longest one. And if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with us using the contact information on the feed. And we'd be happy to hear about your experience over the month of June if you've been practicing meditation. And hopefully we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Have a great week.